I think he didn't watch the movie. I think he just like saw other reviewers of the movie and just basically repeated their reviews. Like only one of these incels actually watched the movie. They made like some plot points, and now everyone else is playing a game of telephone off of that person's work. Mattel executives are launching a cinematic universe after the success of Barbie. 14 properties already in active development, including Barney by A24, Polly Pocket, Hot Wheels, Magic 8 Ball, Uno, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Christmas Balloon, Thomas and Friends, American Girl, Viewmaster, Matchbox, Wishbone, Major Matt Watson, Masters of the Universe. It's like, it's the MCU model, but now it's not even like supposed to be a artistic rendition of a comic book, like a different medium of art, but instead it's just merchandising. They are literally doing MCU shit just for merchandising. It's literally a movie about merchandise. That's all it is, which will be awful, okay? This is going to be fucking awful. But who cares? Mattel's talking about making its own cinematic universe based on its toys. Meanwhile, Hasbro's just sitting on Furby, knowing they could end it all. Law. The next one will flop and they will just cancel the rest. There's no chance. No, it is entirely dependent on... It's not entirely dependent on the blockbuster reception, folks. It's entirely dependent on how many units it moves. How do you not understand that? This is dramatically changing how movies are made in the sense that merchandising has always been a part of the revenue structure, but now merchandising is the main revenue structure. Okay? They put the cart, they flipped it. Merchandising doesn't come after the movie. Merchandising is before the movie and after the movie. These are all this is going to be toys and entirely set up to sell toys. Anyway, so that's what's going on here. Will the actors get paid off merch sales? You're fucking delusional if you think that actors will get points when it's a toy company that's making a movie. No shot. So yeah. On that note, let's look at this Barbie, the critical drinker.
Before I dive into this review properly, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and genius PR campaign of the Warner Brothers marketing department. You guys really pulled off a miracle with this one, successfully duping all of us, including me, into believing that Barbie was going to be just another colourful, light-hearted, easygoing family comedy with some cheeky, self-aware humour, ironic meta gags, and probably capped off with a blandly inoffensive female empowerment message.
Wait, I did think that was going to... That is how they sold it, kind of. Is this guy an alt-right guy? I mean, I don't even disagree with this. He sounds like he's seething way too much, though. I don't know why, but it's not wrong. This part of it is not wrong. That's what it was supposed to... I think a lot of people that go into this movie are going to think that is the case, and then they're going to come out thinking, oh, that wasn't the case. And you will like it, though. I don't think you'll hate it. But yeah, that was definitely the marketing. I stopped watching because he's pretty reactionary. I mean, he sounds like he's white-knuckling his way through this fucking sequence. Like, he literally sounds like he's talking like this. Oh my God. Oh my fucking Lord. I don't understand it. Why the fuck did they make this goddamn movie? It's ruining pre-existing social hierarchies that I appreciate. Fuck. Calm down.
About girls learning the value of their own potential. What none of us expected was 114 minutes of spiteful, bitter, mean...
Oh God, these guys are... Oh, you're a fucking freak. Okay, I love this. I am going to shit on the best ending explained by this reviewer. I am going to shit on all of the right-wing reviews of this movie because, like, on the one hand... yes, it is a capitalist product sale that's being wrapped up in like a feel-good message overall, or maybe even doing some societal criticism. It still is a fun fucking movie. It's not ruining Western civilization. You're a fucking idiot if you think that. God damn it, I hate these fucking snowflakes. Just enjoy the goddamn toy movie, you fucking dumbass. Holy moly, Jesus Christ.
Spirited, borderline unhinged hatred of men and everything even vaguely associated with them. Barbie is like the deformed, mutated rage child of Captain Marvel, Ghostbusters 2016, and She-Hulk.
Okay, these guys are so stupid. And they're okay, all of these right-wingers and their criticisms of this movie is so fucking dumb. Especially because like they're pointing to like actually bad movies that are unwatchable and have been box office fucking failures with the hopes that like people will receive the Barbie movie in a similar capacity when that has demonstrably been a failure. That's not what has happened. And the reason why it didn't happen is because ultimately those movies were bad. That TV show was horrible. But the Barbie movie is good. So when you arrive at that, especially when it comes at a time when people are desperate to like watch movies in the theater and feel like a sense of normalcy in their lives, and Barbie absolutely perfectly fills that void. You get hundreds of millions of dollars in the fucking blockbuster, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars in the box office, and it's a blockbuster box office success.
So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
It is pure brain cancer in movie form, and I was genuinely shocked by the sheer, undisguised contempt this film has towards 50% of the human population.
Oh my god, the undisguised sheer contempt. What the fuck? Oh, yeah. This is so stupid.
Watching this film was one of the most miserable, demoralizing, unpleasant experiences I've ever had as a movie critic.
Honestly, dude, at that point, like, if you watch the fucking Barbie movie, and it makes you feel this sad, like, you should follow through on that desire, that sense of despair. You know what I mean? If you can't fucking deal with a toy movie for both children and adults, you're not built for this world. You know, just shut it off. You know what I mean? Just quit movies. Maybe quit everything altogether. You know what I mean? It's not for you. It's not happening. Just turn it off.
And genuinely made me question where our society is heading. But the review must be done. And you know what Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Old Jack always says, what the hell?
The movie begins with a rip-off, homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was an example of good marketing, where the homage was actually well thought of, well thought out, and I like that he said it's a rip-off, by the way. Like, what do you mean? It's like very clearly an homage, you fucking idiot. Where the inception of Barbie dramatically changed the game for toys for girls. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. And historically speaking, that's what the purpose of Barbie was in some respects.
Where little girls discover Barbie for the first time and gleefully cast off their boring and oppressive baby dolls in an orgy of violence and destruction. And if the visual metaphor of little girls happily destroying the embodiment of motherhood to focus their lives instead on a shallow and materialistic piece of consumerist trash is lost on you, then I don't know what to say, man, but you're probably the target audience for this movie. Anyway, the film explains that all the Barbie and Ken dolls live together in Barbie Land, a kind of magical counterpart to the real world, which is portrayed as a peaceful feminist utopia where all the important jobs are done by the Barbies and the Kens just kind of exist. They've got no inherent value, they contribute nothing, they have no power or say in how their society is run, and they're basically looked down on as a bit silly and irrelevant by the Barbies. Oh my goodness.
Even that part is not necessarily true. That's just insecurity. Like I briefly explained, no, it's not even a so how you treat woman moment, chat. That's not even correct. In the matriarchal structure that they have, Kens just kind of exist, but serve no real purpose, which is a criticism of like, the way that the toy has been structured and marketed in general. But you have to be like incredibly insecure to look at this and go, wow, it's really fucked up how they're mistreating these toys, okay, in this made-up universe, which plays a role in the entire sequence of events.
Goodness, what could the writers possibly be trying to tell us about their views on men? Anyway, this is where we meet stereotypical Barbie, who's busy living her best life, partying with her friends and treating her boyfriend stereotypical Ken like absolute dog shit. Who's the hero of this thing again? Anyway, things suddenly...
Wait, what? He's mad that the Kens are not the hero in the fucking Barbie movie? Ken is not even supposed to be her boyfriend. Like, he's just there as an accessory. That's so funny. Dude, these are toys, man. That's awesome. That's fucking dope. Oppenheimer was literally just 75 politics and less political than Barbie. What the fuck? These people are...
change when
Yeah, okay. Nah, you can't save these motherfuckers. This video got 2 million views too, by the way.
starts
Holy
experiencing emotional changes and physical flaws like flat feet and cellulites. See, because Barbie world is a reflection of the real world, the Barbie's appearances change depending on how they're...
Oh, he's implying Barbie's a bad hero because she treats Ken like shit? She doesn't even treat Ken like shit. At no point does she treat Ken like shit. Unless your expectation is Barbie's supposed to suck and fuck Ken at any given moment that Ken asks for, that's what the fuck? That's insane. She's incredibly nice to Ken. Oh my God. He's just like, what, mad that Ken's not invited to the fucking sleepover, the Barbie sleepover? Like, that's insane, brother. You are such a fucking loser.
Real life owner plays with them. Wait, what? Do you have any idea how many Barbie dolls must get broken or thrown in trash compactors?
This doesn't actually make sense. Only one Barbie was mistreated. Barbies get thrown away all the time. Actually, every single Barbie would be fucking destroyed. It's like, dude, suspend your disbelief. It's a movie about a toy, and even inside of the movie about a toy, what's going on right there is not the real world. Okay? Holy fuck, dude. Oh God, how do you live like this? How do you live like this?
There's or
gotta
set
be
on fire or eaten by family pets every single day? Then the place would look like the Omaha Beach scene from...
Is Morgan in your pool? She says she's in your pool right now? What? Rogan? You need medication? What's going on?
Saving Private Ryan. At any moment, Barbies could suddenly get torn apart, or melted, or crushed right in front of their...
You mean morgue pie? Even in the movie, they make fun of people taking it too seriously when the Mattel employee asks questions about Barbie World? Yeah.
friend's eyes. Jesus, that's like a horrific existential nightmare. But I guess you're not supposed to think too much about that. Internal consistency in a movie like Barbie is rarer than a mainstream media outlet willing to give this movie an honest review. So the only solution is for Barbie to journey into the real world, find the girl who plays with her, and get her to be happy again. And Ken tags along for the ride because he's got nothing better to do than simp for Barbie. Unfortunately, the real world...
Ugh, I fucking hate it. All Ken is doing is simping for Barbie. Yo, Morgue Pie, it was a running joke when you were in Japan and she was doing a pool stream right after she was on your stream. Oh, okay. No. No one is in my pool. Okay. Dude. My boy can barely say the words. He is so mad. Oh my god.
Turns out to be an oppressive, patriarchal hellscape that's utterly dominated by men. Like one...
Yeah, which is very different than the real world, by the way. I'm glad that... What? No notes. That's not how the real world is. Fuck you.
Guy literally walks up to Barbie and slaps her in the ass.
Yeah, it's over the top. It's fucking overboard. It's to show that juxtaposition. It's a fucking movie for children and adults. Oh my god. It's literally, it's not real. It's not a real movie. This is not a documentary, brother. What the fuck?
In the middle of a crowded boardwalk, in broad daylight, in front
of... men never make sexual advances that are sexual assault, actually. on unsuspecting random women. Like, what the fuck?
For boyfriends. Now, you might think that this would afford the writers a chance to demonstrate a little bit of nuance in their storytelling, maybe portray the real world as both good and bad, in sharp contrast to the simplistic, idyllic innocence of Barbie worlds. Kind of like in Enchanted, where the protagonist gets taken out of her cartoon homeworld and has to learn to navigate the complexities and difficulties of real life, ultimately.
Why was this movie not like another movie? My favorite thing is like YouTube essayists who are not very good at movie critique and not very good at storytelling in general, who always appeal to like super low-hanging fruit, like bottom of the barrel bullshit, turn around and talk about like what should have been made instead. It's additionally funny because the movie was like objectively a success. So, you know, maybe let the professionals handle it. You know what I mean? They clearly have a better grasp on this than you do. You know what I mean?
Growing and maturing as a person along the way. But then again, that movie actually had a likeable main character, a decent story, and wasn't written by people who despised half the human population. But nope, the real world and all the men in it are shown to be universally, irredeemably horrible. Because of course they are. Anyway, Barbie eventually finds the kid who plays with her, who turns out to be an asshole.
Okay. Not only does things like that happen in the real world, but it certainly was shown in that sequence to really just like ham up the juxtaposition. It's supposed to feed you all of this as quickly as possible. That's the point.
Communist, activist, feminist that I think the movie wants us to empathize with, but
What?
fuck me, for the life of me, I could not tell you why. Ken, on the other hand, discovers the patriarchy is very much to his liking, mainly because for the first time in his entire life, people actually show him basic respect and human decency. You know, sometimes I get the impression this film isn't saying what the filmmakers think it's saying. So when Barbie eventually returns to Barbie Land,
It's like this thing is saying, dude, I love this guy. You're defending this garbage toy movie, but won't stand up for Sound of Freedom? That's funny. Good one, Seal Puncher.
she discovers to her horror that Ken has brought the patriarchy back with him and turned the whole place into a giant frat party in the space of like a day. Finally, a plot event I can get behind. It's kind of funny though, because it did make me question how the supposedly intelligent, empowered, and self-confident Barbies were so easily subjugated by Ken and the others. This is the kind of awkward little paradox that keeps coming up when you try.
He's like, aha, but the Kens took over quite fast because men, we do dominate. That's awesome. That's so funny. Dude. You're a YouTube reviewer who can't even get through a fucking YouTube review of a toy movie without like breaking a fucking goddamn steel beam with your jaw because of how shut it is with anger. You are not like the dominant alpha dog man, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. If I can hear your teeth gritting over here, you're grinding. It's probably not good. And also you're not the dominant conqueror man that you fancy yourself. You're a fucking YouTuber who is seething. It's really sad. In a really sad way, actually.
Try to constantly portray women as strong, empowered, infallible, kick-ass girl bosses who can do anything and beat anyone, but you also need them to be helpless, oppressed victims of male domination. You can't have your cake and eat it. Not to worry though, because Barbie uses her newfound powers of feminism to free the other Barbies from the evil Ken's oppression, and because they're all dumb as fuck, she's able to trick them into fighting each other until eventually they just give up and surrender.
I feel bad even like criticizing certain aspects of this now that I watched this fucking review of it, which was so objectively bad. A line in the movie literally says the Barbies had no defense against patriarchy because they didn't experience any of it before, so it's clear this man didn't even listen to the actual script. Yeah. One thing that I did not like was defeating like patriarchy by using your feminine powers of like pitting men against one another. Which ultimately devolves into like men and their interest of competition leading into war, which is like a very classic, like liberal ass it's like a very classic liberal take on obviously how history has occurred. It's like the exact opposite of historical materialism, which I was not really expecting anyway, but just, a subtle note there that it's like, oh yeah, men are cum-brained and violent because women pin them against one another. And it also kind of takes away from like women's role in society as well. Because it's not just like women are not only weaponizing their sexuality to dominate and manipulate men. That is like kind of a very incel take, which I'm sure if this guy had like 3.5 fucking brain cells, he would even recognize that and go, oh yeah, that's fucking great. He did it. She did this dumb thing. Women are manipulative, and I agree with that. It's the greatest part of the fucking movie.
Now, you might think that after all these wild swings between male and female domination, the logical way forward would be for Barbie Land to adopt a more equal system where both sides are given power and respect. Perhaps teaching the audience that for all our differences, men and women are both pretty awesome, and maybe we'd do well to work together instead of unfairly elevating one group above the other. But nope, the Barbies go right back to being in charge of everything again.
Wait, this is pretty funny. I love that. He's mad. Oh my God. He's actually fucking mad that like, if he recognizes that the criticism of the movie is about how patriarchy like unjustifiably oppresses women, 50% of the fucking population, then doesn't he also recognize that you kind of get the point of the movie? You're just like writing for patriarchy. That's it. Because like even at the end, the joke is that like, yeah, eventually they'll have just as many. Eventually they'll live in a society where men will be just as powerful as women are in the real world, which is the ending sequence, which is hilarious because then you literally recognize that we do live in a patriarchal construct that oppresses women inherently and that you like it. And because of how fragile you are, you recognize the unjustifiable circumstances in the real world. And you're like, but why was there no equality? You sound like a feminist at the end of that. That's what happened here.
And the Kens slide back into a meaningless, depressing existence of being irrelevant second-class citizens. And that, I think, is supposed to be a happy ending?
Fuck.
Honestly, I'm struggling to...
He's trying to make a point that the rebellion of the Barbie society and their role before was both centered around Barbie's acceptance. Barbie's never cared about Ken's acceptance. That's why it ends with him being Ken off. Lamau, I don't need to prove anything. I just need to be happy with myself. Exactly.
Find the right words to properly express just how monumentally awful this film is. It's like a serial killer dressed in a Pikachu outfit. Superficially, it might look bright and cheerful and cute, but beneath the appealing facade, there's something genuinely horrible and sinister. This is a movie made by people who utterly despise men.
There's something horrible and sinister in the Barbie movie.
Masculinity, or any kind of traditional gender roles of any kind, and make absolutely no attempt to hide it. So you're a woman who wants to be a mother or a homemaker? Screw you, fascist! You're a man who...
I don't think he watched the movie. I think he didn't watch the movie. I think he just like saw other reviewers of the movie and just basically repeated their reviews. Like no way, right? There's like only one of these incels actually watched the movie. They made like some plot points, and now everyone else is playing a game of telephone off of that person's work, and that's why it's like devolved into something entirely separate.
Who wants to be assertive, ambitious, confident, and successful? Well, that clearly makes you a misogynist, don't you know? It's so
Wait, what? There's no way he's looking at the situation. There's no way he's looking at the situation in the toy movie where the toy Ken sees patriarchy and thinks it's like super cool because there's like a lot of aspects that are highlighted, like material possessions that are highlighted within it, whether it be horses or big trucks, things that he enjoys. and attributing all of that to the patriarchy and wanting to instill it in the Barbie universe because he thinks that was all they're ever going to. That's all they're going to get more of that. And then, even though the horses were cute, yes, I did love the horses. And he thinks that that's like being assertive. I don't really understand. Like, he thinks that that's just like being a go-getter and assertive. Like, making women servile is being a go-getter and assertive. And that, like, this dude lives in the real world where patriarchy is very real. And yet, for some fucking weird reason, even a fantasy about a fucking toy where that patriarchy is not like immediately shown as a good thing, that structure is enough for him to throw a hissy fit. Brother, men used to die in war, okay? Men used to do things. They used to build things. They used to die in fucking war. Now, the most masculine alpha dogs that fancy themselves to be these fucking, barbarians and these Vikings are online, unable to get through a goddamn fucking toy movie for adults and primarily little girls to go and purchase toys without losing their minds because there's a depiction of patriarchy that is negative in it. He said it's monumentally catastrophic and communist propaganda.
Fucking divisive and unnecessary. It's like they had a perfect opportunity to unify audiences behind a simple message of reconciliation and equal opportunity, but they just couldn't help.
But this aspect of it is pretty funny because, like, he sees matriarchy and his depiction of matriarchy, even though it's, like, exaggerated. Let's say that it's like that. Let's say that the matriarchy in this circumstance subjugates men, right? Because his understanding is that's what's going on. He's literally begging for equality, like a chirping radfem. And it's not the real world that made you feel this way. It's a fucking toy movie that made you feel this way. I love that. There's nothing funnier than this. He's like, oh, I'm a feminist now. Oh, what the fuck? This movie. I just want equality. I don't like it. It's divisive.
Themselves. They were so filled with rage and hatred and bitterness that it just had to come spewing out onto the screen. As far as this film's concerned, women are simply amazing, and men and everything they do are utterly irredeemably shit. They might be grudgingly tolerated provided they play by the rules, but they have no inherent value and can never be trusted with any kind of power or responsibility. And the only way to guarantee a peaceful and harmonious society is for women to be put in charge of everything and men to be docile, powerless servants who exist only to please them.
Not a great plan.
What?
Wait, that's not what happened in the movie. That's not even what happened in the beginning sequence where like men weren't servile in the same way that like the Barbies were under patriarchy. And that's not what happened in the ending either. And the ending is also a joke about how like patriarchy still very much exists in the real world. And therefore like a feminist movement or a meninist movement in the movie will give men the rights and responsibilities that women currently hold in the real world. So only would you get mad at that if you literally look and correctly analyze the current unjustifiable structure in a patriarchal society and think it's really fucking good and should be that way. That's the only way that you would get mad at this movie. Which is probably what's going on, I think. That's what he is.
What an inspiring message for impressionable young girls. The thing is, none of this would have been quite so insidious if the marketing hadn't done everything in its power to keep it a secret. I mean, for all their faults, She-Hulk, Ghostbusters 2016 and Captain Marvel all wore their feminist hearts on their sleeves. You knew exactly what you were getting into when you went to see them. But Barbie really is a wolf in sheep's clothing, tricking people into watching it by promising one thing and
yeah, the entire ending sequence is about Ken finding his own value without having it be related to Barbie. Like that's the purpose. The main purpose of Ken is to just exist in a universe with his own set of values and standards and and goals and aspirations, because previously the way that it was designed was not that he was servile, but he certainly was like constantly looking for validation from Barbie. He wanted that Barbussy. Also, it's not a fucking Ken movie, it's a Barbie movie. What the fuck? This dude is like watching the Powerpuff Girls and getting mad about how feminist it is and how Mojo Jojo isn't like the good guy in the movie. It's like weird. Or the scientist dad is not the good guy and not more prominently fucking featured. Very odd.
And delivering something very different. And I guess that's the thing that really struck me about this film. A lot of parents will have been duped into taking their daughters along to watch this movie, probably expecting the kind of breezy, colourful, family-friendly movie that was advertised, only to find themselves confronted with this spiteful, bitter, mean-spirited pile of misandrous dog shit instead.
Misandrous.
And I can't help but wonder how many future...
Yeah, dude. Misandry is when women leave men alone. Like, they build the perfect society and then leave men alone to do whatever the fuck men want to do. If that's misandry, then, I mean, that's pretty solid. You know what I mean? Because, you could have made a criticism about the lack of imagination, about a matriarchal structure not actually having any serious societal ills upon the men beyond just simply looking for validation and seeking validation and existing only to have Barbies pay attention to them. But that would require you to have at least 3.5 brain cells, and it seems like you've lost it while you were watching this movie. Like, you could have literally said, you could have straight up looked at the situation and gone, ultimately it could have been more interesting to see how the Barbies would dominate the men in a matriarchal society. You know what I mean? And we didn't get any of that, and I feel like that was a bit, it lacked imagination.
Future man-hating psychopaths are going to be created because of this film. It's not very often that I say this in my reviews, but if you're a parent and you're thinking about taking your kid...
Okay, yeah, if you're a parent and you're watching this guy, you're fucking cooked, okay? This guy's so blatantly just saying women having power bad. Why don't they show Ken forcing her to take a pregnancy to term? How dare women have power and agency over their bodies and capital? This shit is stupid. The movie's doing a self-critique on male characters in girls' toys and girls' stories who are treated like props to women, but this guy isn't familiar with girls' media, so it goes over his head. Yeah, I mean, it's also, there's also that aspect of it too.